Hello, my little ducklings. Welcome back to welcome back to LoveLiveServe vlogs. We have a very important video, joined by our boy Zach. He hasn't moved in.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet. Again, I like talking to you about every topic because you're very knowledgeable, and I think you can give me and Noah and Rob, who's occupied right now, can give us some helpful information. We have a mostly male viewership. Let's focus mostly on guy to girl relationship stuff in this video, but we'll also toss in a few things about girl, guy.
Yeah, I mean, it can fit your demographic, but it can be applied to whether a girl and a guy to girl, like the whole spectrum. Whoever you love, if you want to get close with somebody, this will help.
Not sure exactly what we're gonna title this, but it's titled now, so you can see what the title is. This is all about relationships, girls, the opposite gender, all that stuff. Number one, let's say there's a random guy, his name's Ryland or something,
Ryland, yeah.
6'1", mixed tattoos. I don't know, some random person.
Nine, right?
Nine, there you go. He is looking to maybe get a girlfriend, have more girls like him, or something like that. He just wants to be attracted to the opposite gender. What is the best way to attract the opposite gender if you're a guy? How does a guy attract girls?
Well, that is a huge question.
Big question.
And if only I knew the ultimate answer that says, do this one thing and you'll attract
Watch
everyone. Like,
LoveLiveServe vlogs and you're...
And then that's it, right? Well, every girl or guy or whoever you're going after is different. There's no one-size-fits-all formula for relationships. If you find it, let me know, because I want to know if it's out there, right? What I would say is that generally speaking, something that really helps is confidence, is the ability to be who you are and not be afraid to just be authentically you and be authentically yourself. And I think a girl or a guy or anyone who's looking for a partner loves somebody that is true to who they are and is not trying to be fake, not trying to be more than they are, but is willing to be like, look, this is me, take it or leave it, all my weirdness, strangeness, uniqueness, all my imperfections, because we all got them, but this is just me, this is who I am, and if you don't want it, I know somebody else will. Like, just having that confidence and knowing your value as a person, I think is number one thing that anybody can do to make themselves more attractive, because that's evident by other people. Even if they're not interested in you in a relational way, they can see that you value yourself and you care about yourself. That's attractive. I think, yeah, we can get into the whole looks and people have different preferences and what people look like, but even like regardless of what you look like, if you just know who you are and you are confident in your ability to just be yourself and be true to who you are, then that's attractive.
Is it possible, let's say I like a girl, she doesn't like me back, she's not really giving me a lot of good reciprocation of energy. Is it worth trying to win somebody over? Or is it, if they don't like you, don't even bother? Or is there a way that you can try to do certain things to show them, oh, I'm gonna like them now? I think about that all the time.
Yeah, I do think it depends. I think there might be some girls who enjoy the chase of the pursuit and want you to try a little bit. They're hard to get because they want you to come after them, and there are some who are just not interested, and then you continuing to pursue them would be creepy or stalkerish, and then it's
and we'll push them further away.
To back up. I do think that movies do a really bad job of showing this. Cliche love movie is a girl says no, a guy keeps asking her. A girl says no, a guy keeps asking her, and then finally she's like, okay. And then they're true love. If a girl or guy says no, no means no. Like, okay, like understand that. Take hints and signals of, okay, maybe they're flirting or they're playing and they're like, oh, I don't know. Like, maybe, okay, go with that and try again. But if they're like, no thanks, I'm not interested, I wouldn't continue to try to go after that. So read the situation, read the guy, the girl, like understand where they're coming from. Maybe you keep trying, maybe you don't. But when you're a confident person, then you know that you have nothing to lose. As amazing as they might be, if they're not interested, it doesn't matter to me, like, because I'll find somebody else who is just as good, if not better, because I am not like desperate and holding out for this one person that's all or nothing. Take me or leave me, but I know that like with or without you, I'm still great.
I feel like everyone watching at home either has that one person or those two people or whatever crushes that they just fixate on. We're supposed to be together, but the person clearly is not giving them the same energy back. Do you just say...
Here's something that might be a little bit deep for a lot of people, real to think about, is that most people don't often fall in love or have a crush on or with the person, but the idea of being with that person. We fantasize about what that would be like to sleep with an attractive guy or a girl, or just how amazing it would be to be able to show them off or spend time to get... We fantasize with it, right? I think girls and guys do this equally. Maybe girls do a little bit more. Who knows? I'm not a girl. I don't know how to think, right? But just generally, I would guess that they do a little bit more, but we're both guilty of it all the same. But I do think think that when we realize that we're falling in love with the fantasy and not the person, that's when we can understand that, okay, one, let's get to know the person beyond the fantasy. But if that person says no, there are many more people out there, and you can apply that same fantasy or infatuation to anybody. But we like to get so emotionally attached to the idea that it has to be this one person. It's all or nothing. This is my soulmate. They're the one. If I don't be with them, then I'm hopeless or I'm lost. Anybody can be the one. We just decide that they are, but we decide they are because we recognize that connection. We recognize that there's compatibility. They're interested, we're interested, and then we create something from there. People often look at it that there's infatuation, there's crush, and then you develop something with somebody, when I think the reverse should be true. You connect, you see if there's something there, and that develops a deeper infatuation or crush because it's based off of a connection, not trying to connect based off of an infatuation.
I like that. Because I hear this a lot of times, a few female friends, oh, this guy did this to me, but I kept going, I keep wanting to go back, and how do I fix him, and how do I just leave, stop, it's not working out. But for that same reason, people hold their crushes to this high standard of this is the most beautiful being to ever live and we will be together and nobody has ever looked this good before ever. I promise you, there's other people. If you're in a situation deep into it, it's hard to believe that.
And the thing is that is actually a fear-based mentality. That the reason you're so attached to that person is because you're scared of, well, if I don't have them, who else will I have, right? If they like me and then they suddenly stop, who else could like me or who else will like me? Or if they're my crush and I like them and only them, don't go away, or they're not a part of my life, then who can I like or who will I like? No one else is good enough. And it's not true, but it's a fear-based mentality. We get caught in that fear and then we actually sabotage our own love life and ourself, which makes it harder to actually find the right person. When we get caught up lying to ourselves about that fear that either they won't stay or they're not good enough or we're not good enough or whatever it might be, get out of the fear so that you can get into the love.
Amazing. Here's something. This happened to me a few times where you're cool with a girl, another whatever, and they lose interest after a little while. It was sparks and butterflies at first, and then they start fading or they don't hit you up. Now they're not responding. Now they're not hitting you back. Why does that happen? Clearly she thinks I'm attractive. She thinks, okay, I was enough to catch her attention and talk a little bit, and now the well just seemed to go dry out of nowhere. What do I do?
That's something that, again, can be very situational, right? It could
Because how could you resist the caramel drizzle?
The caramel drizzle is what you gotta go with, right? Sometimes, you don't know what's going on, but I would say a lot of times it often can be that they don't see what they thought they saw at first, whether that's the excitement, that's the interest, whether it's the compatibility, because you can be physically attracted to somebody, but when you start to get to know them, maybe you're like, oh, maybe we don't have as much in common, or maybe I don't enjoy spending as much time with this person as I thought, and they're still attractive, or they're still a friend, or whatever it might be, but they're not interested in taking that to the next level. So if it were me, what I would do is look inwardly and try to take responsibility and be like, all right, what could I do differently? Not that I need to change myself for this other person, but be like, how am I not meeting their needs of what they're looking for in a relationship? Or how am I not giving of myself or trying to invigorate things and make things new and fresh and exciting and continue to give them what they're looking for in a relationship? General fact is that most people tend to be selfish, looking at what can I get out of this relationship? How can they help me? How can they love me? What can they do for me? How can they be attractive enough for me? When in reality, a relationship is about giving. A relationship is not about what you can take from the other person, because that's not a relationship, that's a transaction. If you do this for me, then I will love you in return. If we want to get really intense, that's what a whore does.
I do not believe in love.
You give love in exchange for getting something back. That's not real love, but unfortunately that's what so many people do, is they love because they're getting something. It's selfish. Love is not, hey, I will care if you do X, Y, or Z for me. Love is regardless of what you do, I'll care about you because I care about you, and that is love. And when two people feel that towards each other, that's a beautiful relationship. But when two people are like, hey, I only love you if you bring this to the table, and I only love you if you bring this to the table, that's a transaction. And when that transaction goes away, when somebody stops bringing something to the table, they go and leave and find somebody else. Try to find somebody that you connect with beyond just what can they give me, what can I give to them, how can I love, live, and serve them, and that is super attractive. Think about that. Think about if somebody cared about you so much they'd do anything for you. Regardless of what you do, who you are, they just cared about you so much. Would you not be attracted to somebody like that?
I could use that person,
right?
Yeah.
You could use that person. So instead of trying to find that person, what if you were to try to be that person?
You're going to my next question. Let's not forget this right there.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
I think you said it earlier. When people get involved with each other, whether it be a relationship, a marriage, or they're a couple, the initial infatuation goes down because now you've achieved the prize and you've achieved
you got the ring on the finger.
You got the ring now,
or
you've achieved the trophy, but the trophy's never as shiny once it's in your cabinet. It was always shinier when it was like when you don't have it yet.
Beautiful way to look at relationships, like trophy.
Trophy wife. No. Yeah, you see my kind of analogy.
What happens when it lacks its luster?
That's what I was thinking was you get in a relationship with somebody or you start getting bing bang bada boom. They lose interest because it's not exciting anymore to them and then they're off to the new guy. How do you keep them around?
I think you kind of answered your own question in asking it is you keep it exciting, right? We often look at it as the honeymoon phase of the relationship, right? The first couple weeks or a couple months are just they're amazing, I'll do anything for you, right? No, you hang up, no, you hang up, no, you hang up, right? They're just so, like, whatever it is, people are just so connected, and then after a while it gets boring, it gets old, because like you were talking about earlier, like it's exciting when you don't know somebody, and then the more you get to know about them, the less there is to learn, and then you're like, okay, then what do I do? Find somebody new to learn about or to care about. So keep things interesting, mix it up. One of the basic needs we have as human beings is the need for variety, for excitement, for things that are new. We want to feel alive, not bored.
So when I cheat on my girlfriend, I can say, you saw the video with Zach. I need variety as a human. And I love you, but I just needed a little bit of excitement. And we're still good, we're still dating. I guess you can't do that.
Well, because another one of our needs is also the love and the connection with another person. And so then you have conflicting needs at that point. So how can you provide variety with the person you love instead of giving up the love for the variety?
So as for the next question, do I have to remain a mystery to my significant other or the girl that I like for a super long time? I love connecting with people, learning everything there is to know, but if you do it too fast, it hinders you, so I should probably just...
Sorry, I wouldn't say that it hinders you to go too fast, right? You could just share everything you are with a person, and yet connecting with somebody in that way, there'll always be new things to talk about, whether it's what happened in the news, or what happens on social media, or a movie that you watch, or an experience you enjoy together. If you connect with somebody, right, like if you and I really enjoy watching movies, for example, we could go watch a movie we haven't seen and share that connection and converse about the movie and enjoy that. That's something new that's outside of ourselves.
Okay.
And so there are always ways, even if you knew everything about me and I knew everything about you, we could then go do an experience where we'd still learn something new, or at least experience something new. So I think the variety doesn't have to be just within yourself and who you are. So don't be afraid to just share who you are with somebody and get to know them. You don't have to slow it down and purposely be a mystery to lead them on, right? But you can bring that variety outside of yourself, whether it's new experiences, new people, new opportunities, new things to connect over, bond over. We're in a limitless world with limitless possibilities, right? You'll die before you reach even close to all of them. And so just put things in your life to spice it up, even beyond who you are, just to things you can experience and do.
Because I was like, well, I don't want to be at a date. Girl's like, so tell me about yourself. And I'm like, I'm a man of few words.
One question now, question two on date two, right?
Yeah, like Jack told me to stretch it out. No, I see exactly what you're saying. Circling back to the other point, personally, I think I have an urge to want to please people or be very giving and like, how can I help you? How can I provide value to you? Which is what you were talking about, being that kind of selfless figure for other people. However, surely there's a point where you shouldn't be giving all your marbles and love and energy to someone who's not appreciating it. How do you know how much to give to any one person? I'm just putting myself on blast here. Girls that I've given a lot to, talk to them, try to help them out with things, giving them all this stuff, and then it ends up either not working for whatever reason. Trying to be literally the best I could, provide the most value possible, and yet it seemed like it wasn't enough.
And here's the thing to think about, is people don't often leave somebody that is meeting all their needs. Like if you are truly giving so much to this person, why would they leave?
That's true. There's also been people that have wanted to stay.
And there can be those times, yes, when somebody, it's just a one-sided relationship and you're giving, the other person is just taking and they don't care. Maybe you need to recognize that and leave. But I think a lot of times people will lie to themselves and be like, I'm giving all this and they're doing nothing. Well, why would they leave if they're getting all this value from you? Maybe you really aren't meeting some of their needs, or maybe you aren't as exciting or aren't as interesting, or you're not caring as much as they want you to be.
You're just not what they want, period.
Right, it could be that, but my biggest thing is take responsibility. Don't try to shift the blame and be like, oh, it's their fault, they're too selfish, they're not giving enough, they're not loving enough, how can I be better? That doesn't mean be the victim. I think there's a difference between taking the blame and taking the responsibility. Right? You don't have to take the blame and be like, oh, I just need to do everything.
I need to be smarter.
Need to do this and that, right? That doesn't need to be the case, but if something's not working out, reflect inwardly, right? Look at what you can control, like we talked about in the other video of like, you can't control how the other person responds, but you can control what you give and how you meet those people's needs. And if they're frustrated, try to understand it and help them to be connected more, or to bring that spark of passion back. And if they're still not interested, then maybe it's time for something new, or maybe they just truly aren't the right person, whatever it might be. But look inwardly first. Try to take as much responsibility as you can. Do what you need to make it work. And then if it still doesn't, you'll find somebody better who will make it work with you.
And I think my takeaway from this, because I was thinking, well, Zach, wait a minute. This sounds an awful lot of, I really got to give a whole bunch. Like, I want the person to like me, and I don't want to jump through 20 different hoops to make this person like me. And I'm thinking, if you have to unnecessarily go above and beyond, then maybe it's not the right person for you. But I do think it's a smart point to, hey, if this isn't working or it's kind of shaky, reflect inward. Oh, am I being a little bit too, should I step up like this and be more?
To use a different analogy, if your videos aren't doing well, they're constantly getting low views, and you're like, oh, it's their fault. They're just not watching it. They're not commenting. They should like this content, and you don't reflect inwardly, but like, how could I change my content
to make the content better?
Be better, right? Then you reflect inwardly, be like, okay, maybe you recognize areas where it could be better and you improve those. And yet, if you're still just, it's perfect and it's all the right things, and you've done all that feedback, and the videos still aren't getting views, maybe there's an actual issue. Maybe
you're on the wrong platform.
Yeah, maybe you're on the wrong platform. Maybe your account was blocked, or maybe like your stuff is getting limited. Then you can actually dive into like the issue. But aside from that, like, take responsibility, see how you can grow, how you can learn. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing is that so many people are focused on trying to find the right person, when I think the priority should be trying to be the right person. Because when you be the person that the person you're trying to find wants to be with, you're not even gonna have to look for them. They'll be like, that's the man, the woman, the person that I was looking to be with, because you were more focused on trying to be them than find them.
That's the answer. Wow. Because I was sitting here thinking, you're giving me a lot of information. And again, for the viewers, it's a lot of stuff to process. The girl, okay, I should show her that I live like her. And then right there, stop chasing and chasing. I gotta find her, I gotta win her over. Focus on building up your own thing so that you become the figure that people...
Exactly. Make them do the work, right? Instead of trying to find the catch, you be the catch.
Instead of trying to find the catch, be the catch.
Wow, that was inspirational, man.
You guys know I do quotes like this.
Please clap.
This is the last one. In terms of relationships and staying together, you do find that special one and you want to keep them around. Keep things spicy. Is that the thing? Is that right?
Spicy, right?
Spicy that term is a little...
Yeah, I mean, well, I think the biggest thing is just keep things selfless, right? It doesn't mean don't care about yourself and take care of yourself, of course, but keep things focused on the other person, right? If it's out me, that's not a good relationship. If I'm like, how can I serve you and make your life better? And your life is about how can I serve you and make your life better? That seems like a pretty healthy relationship.
Yeah.
But if it's, oh, you're not doing enough for me, you're not doing this for me, you should be doing this for me, and you're doing that, then there's no tension, there's no passion, right? People that genuinely care beyond themselves and are selfless with their love, because that is what love is, right? Love transcends the selfishness and the greed and the ego. Love is just allowing yourself to give, even if you were to never receive back. The beauty is that when you give, naturally, psychologically, we feel the need to reciprocate what we give. So we're not giving just so we can specifically get back, because again, that's transactional. But when we give without expectation of receiving, we often receive even more than we expect to receive. And that's the sign of a healthy relationship, is people that give. So yes, mix it up, keep things spicy, keep things fresh. But I think that even just in that act of giving of yourself to another person, that naturally keeps things fresh, because they never know what you're gonna give, how you're gonna serve, what you're gonna do. Making things different and fresh can be a way of giving to that person. If they need things to be not as boring or need things to be more exciting, that's what you give. So whatever it is, whether it's excitement, whether it's more physical, whether it's more communication, whether it's more exciting dates or whatever it might be, give to the other person without expecting to get something in return. Love selflessly, because that's real love, and that's passionate relationship.
And that goes beyond relationships. Shouldn't you just love unconditionally and be selfless just because?
That's altruism, right? Like, care beyond who you are. At the end of the day, like, those are the things that will matter the most, right? People will forget what you said and what you did, but they always remember how you made them feel. Do what makes other people feel good. Light the light in other people, and love, live, serve.
And you'd be surprised how happy it makes you feel just giving. Because a person's like, well, wait a minute, I need something in return. Actually, if you start doing things that put smiles on people's faces, that feeling of happiness that you get from doing that, actually, I think is...
I like to say that if you want to make your day, go make somebody else's.
Another one, he's got another quote. It's human nature to want to please people or want people to like you and want people to value you. At what point do you stop trying to do that? Because I feel like it's stressful and it's a battle you can't win, because you can be the nicest peach, but there's always going to be someone who doesn't like peaches. But it's like you want to be the best person you could possibly be. You live a life of not trying to please others, and this is in terms of relationships.
Yeah, I'd say like the ideal situation is to stop trying to sell your value and start just being more valuable.
Another good point.
Right? Like if you were, like we were talking about this earlier, like there's no Tesla commercials, right? Teslas sell themselves because they are so valuable. You don't need to tell me how valuable Tesla is. I know it, I can see it. So if you are a person of value, that if you're a catch, a guy or a girl, somebody that people want to be with, people will see that if you're a valuable person. But if you're not, and you're just trying to like, oh please buy me, you're like a used car salesman trying to sell a crappy car. Like, no, trust me, this is really good. This is really worth it. You're gonna want it, right? But when you can focus on being valuable instead of trying to prove you're valuable, and maybe you are, maybe you're not, like that's when you can just be the right person instead of trying to find it, and then the right person will find you because you're so valuable.
I'll use glasses now as an example. By making yourself more valuable, if I had 100 of these glasses and was like, Zach, can you buy these off me, please? Can you take them, please?
I don't need glasses. Like,
I know, but I have to get rid of them. Just take some of them. He's not gonna want to buy them. If I said these are the only glasses like this that exist, and these were worn by Abraham Lincoln and Justin Bieber and Post Malone to all their performances and appearances.
Abraham Lincoln and Justin Bieber.
Yeah, I would want those if they were honestly worn by all those people.
History.
You would be like, there are some dope glasses. Like, I want those. Same with what you do to yourself. If you're constantly, please, come on. Hey, what's up? I love you. I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful.
And here's the thing, to go off of your point, like the reason those become so valuable is when we recognize they're one of a kind. The reason you're so valuable in a relationship is because you're one of a kind. The challenge is so many people try to be a copy of what they see on social media. They try to look like every attractive guy or a girl, or they try to just be what they think somebody else wants, and they lose who they are in the process. But when you can be fully and authentically yourself and be the one of a kind person you were always meant to be, you're way more valuable because people see the scarcity and the fact that you truly are one of a kind. So be who you are instead of trying to be someone you're not.
I'm sure you guys have not only liked people, but have had people like you, and maybe you didn't. You're like, Notice the people that you infatuated over or had the biggest crushes on, it hurts you so bad for them to not like you or them to leave you. Those people you thought were one of a kind. You thought they were irreplaceable, and that's why you gave them so much.
And think about, like, there are so many different types of people. You're always going to be somebody's preference.
I like that.
Like, think about genres of music, for example. There are so many genres of music, and yet even the most obscure, there are still fans of that type of music because there are so many different options. So you could be the most weird, random, silly, goofy person, which I hope you are. Like, just being truly yourself, silly and fun is great. But you could be the most random person. There's still going to be a lot of people who are like, know who you are is my type because I'm looking for that.
I like that. That's promising. That's, no one's ever going to love me. Wrong. There's a flavor out there for everybody. Zach made me think of this point. Whenever you go to the mall, there'll be the people trying to clean your shoes or try this skincare product here, and you're like, get away from, stop. I don't want it. That's how people always are. Social media or at the club or something. Hey, come here. And all you're doing is pushing away the target by doing that. However, how many times have you gone to the mall and seen something too expensive that you really want, and you're like, oh, I really want that. Like, I gotta buy it. Oh, I could scrape up some money to try to buy that, and you're actively pursuing that product. Why? Probably because it looks super cool, is really unique. Maybe
you can see the value.
You can see the value, and it's expensive. Whatever. It's just out of your budget a little bit. That's what makes it more exciting to buy. Again, you got to create your own value.
Yeah, like, and the thing is, something could be really expensive and be a really crappy product, but by having a bigger price tag, it's become perceived value. The more expensive it is, the more valuable, because that's the way that it should work, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes people will sell things for more than they should, or you can get a bargain at like a garage sale, you get something really valuable for really cheap. But for the most part, the more valuable the thing is, the more it costs. And so when you see that something costs more, you can see it as value. So in terms of a relationship, like, be that brand item, like be the Gucci, be the Tesla, right? Like, be that super high value, super high cost, because you are. The value of your life truly is priceless. And yet when you sell yourself short, then not only are you not fully living the life that you can, but other people are not going to recognize your value because you don't even recognize your value.
Why isn't my crush liking me back? I keep telling her that I love her and I'll give her whatever she wants. I'm trying to pick a store here that's not to put down some store. Let's say Goodwill or something. People can thrift. I go to thrift stores all the time. It's like you're acting like it. Actually, thrift stores aren't a good example because there's a lot of one-of-a-kind stuff there. Let's say like a Walmart shirt that there's 100 of them, just plain blue t-shirts or something. I don't know. You're acting like a plain blue t-shirt from Walmart that anybody can get, and you're not acting like the Burberry sweatshirt that is the only one of a kind and is ridiculously priced, but people still buy it and still want it. I think that's a really good takeaway for people, is to improve themselves and become the target as opposed to just aiming all day, trying to hit targets. Just be the target.
And then I think that at the end of the day, you can just focus on being you and who you are, right? When you're not trying to be the facade and try to fake your value and sell your value. You can just
what's up, girl?
Be who you are, who you are meant to be. At the end of the day, that's what's so beautiful. And I think of that, I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. Like, I don't want somebody to be attracted to me and be with me if I'm pretending to be someone I'm not. I don't want them to be attracted to the facade. I want them to be attracted to the real me, and I want to be the real me. And if they're not attracted, I don't want them to be with them if they don't like who I am. But like I said, there's always going to be somebody who likes who you are, and you are somebody's type. Remember that. And I think the interesting thing is, though, that is when we try to be someone we're not only are we missing out and not being authentically ourselves, then we're making it harder for the right person to find us, because the right person who's going to be attracted to who you are is going to be a lot harder to see that when you're not being that. So it reminds me of a poem that I really like by this author named Shel Silverstein. This poem is called Masks. Super short, about a guy and a girl. It says, he had blue skin and so did she. He kept it hid and so did she. They spent their whole life looking for blue and passed right by and never knew that they were both unique and special. Maybe not one of a kind if they're both blue, but you get the idea. They were each other's type, but they were ashamed of who they were and they hid themselves, and yet they passed by each other and didn't even realize that they were meant for each other because they were both hiding who they were. And if only they were their authentic selves and who they were put in this world to be, they would have found that connection. So if you want to find the connection, be the person you are meant to be. Stop faking, stop putting on a facade, stop trying to be someone you're not. Be the one-of-a-kind person you are meant to be. Remember, you are somebody's type and you'll find love.
I like that a lot because on Instagram, everyone's doing their highlight reels and trying to pose and be this perfect cookie cutter image of what they think everyone else wants to see. Be on Instagram, even in person, people will dress a certain way to, well, this is what everyone else is wearing. Like this. I'm about to just start doing whatever. Just being myself. Oh, I pretty much am myself all the time. But have you ever fallen into the trap of acting not how you are? Or are you pretty good with being yourself?
Yeah, I think at this point, I'm just me and I'm not afraid of that, right?
That's
and
fine.
I mean, and granted, I'll say that, like, I am single, and so, a single guy giving advice in relationships, right? Like,
what do you know?
So, yeah, what do I know, right? But also at the end of the day, like, I'm okay with that, because for me, like, I'm holding out on the person that is aligned in the same way that I am, with wanting to make a difference in this world and caring about inspiring and motivating others. And you could be the most attractive person in the world, and yet if that's not something you care about, then to me, like, I'm fine waiting. Like, I love myself enough that I'm okay being single as long as it takes until I find that right person, because I'm more focused on being the person I want to be, and the right person will come along and recognize that's the person they want to be with, and it'll be great. But until then, like, I'm fine being me. So until you find the person, there's no rush. Keep being you, keep being who you are, and it'll happen in no time.
Bye.